Don Curtis, who's going to talk about the mobile lab that he provides training out of the community. So Don.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Yes? So, there you go. Let's see now. About 15 years ago, first off, I should back up. The program I work with is Oakland Adult and Career Education. It's part of Oakland Unified. And about 15 years ago, previous director had this idea of classes to communities throughout Oakland. We were debating on how to get students to the classes that we physically had in buildings, and we weren't getting the enrollment. So this director said, well, maybe let's get an RV and transform that into a classroom. And so he was a driving force behind that idea. There were two people apparently that tried driving it and then teaching in it before I was asked. They lasted, I think, a month each or something like that. I mean, driving is a big, big challenge, especially in the streets in Oakland. So as it's evolved over the years, I now have, or I offer at 3 school sites, and how they're chosen is they typically approach us to see if the service is available, and then we make the decision based on the number of parents that they can enroll ahead of time before we actually go to that campus. What's exciting about this for me is that, you know, I work with these parents for about 100 hours, 120 hours at each school. So that's a lot of instructional time and a lot of, how should I put it, just, yeah, a lot of time to work with these parents. I don't work with the kids, but sometimes the parents and their children will come in the bus and work on some projects together, which is really a great incentive for the parents to be in that classroom. Oh, here. How is it? So there's a picture of the bus, and some of my students, I think that was taken at Madison Elementary, East Oakland. It's 35 foot long. The classes are technology based, but I also do some ESL and basic skills as well, depending on the group of students that come in. I don't know if I mentioned, but the classes are 2.5 hours each, one afternoon, one morning class. I can only fit about 12 students in each session, comfortably. I've had up to 20, but that was pushing it. There was very little room. People were sitting on stools and sharing laptops, so it was challenging. But now 12 is the max. The students that I get, they come from all over. In the photo there, you probably see students from Yemen, Honduras, Mexico, and maybe Eritrea. So they are from all different walks of life and all different countries. Language definitely is a problem when giving this instruction. So I speak Spanish and some French, but and I was trying to learn some Arabic with the Yemeni students that I was working with, but that took a little bit of time. I could communicate basics, so teaching pretty like terminology was difficult. So speaking about digital literacy, and to distinguish it from computer literacy, digital literacy is quite different. It is critical for learning in life, and the work that I do is to prepare those students with the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to improve social and economic opportunities. Again, I have to say that if their level of education from their home countries is 6th grade, there has to be some foundational instruction before jumping into the tech instruction. So I do a needs assessment and a language assessment before each session to find out, first of all, English level and then also their tech skills. Once they're in the class and they're comfortable and they start building a community within that classroom, they're able to work really well together and share experiences, not just learning experiences, but experiences on how they got to the United States, what's happening with their kids in school, how to sharing of homework strategies, things like that. So in that picture, we have a student using one of the tablets that I have in the class, and she's working with two young people, and they're reading a story on that tablet together. They're not her kids, they're just kids that came from one of the grades. I think it was New Highland Elementary, that school. And then I think the woman on the right is working with her daughter. So what is really key, and I've gotten a better understanding of this over the years, is the concept of digital wellness and how children are using technology and the amount of time they're spending in front of a screen. And I think I saw a statistic somewhere where it's within the last decade, it's up 2.5 hours a day, something like that. So that's of concern. And part of the instruction I give is to have discussions with parents on what their kids are doing at home with their tablets or their phones or their laptops or computers, the types of things the kids are doing, how the parents are monitoring what the children are doing. And it's pretty interesting. I've seen many times a mom, when a child is upset or misbehaving, they'll pass over the phone to be the pacifier, to be the babysitter. And for me, that's alarming. I mean, that should not be the way to solve that problem. Working in Oakland, I have definitely seen firsthand the inequities within certain communities. I'm typically east of 23rd Avenue all the way to the San Leandro border at schools, and West Oakland as well. West Oakland Middle School and MLK are a couple of schools that I've taught at. And there definitely is a need for the types of services that Seth offers. There's definitely need for instruction for the parents. It's really important. I mean, a lot of those parents are not understanding what their children are doing in school, and they don't get a sense of the homework. With that 6th grade education, there's a barrier to being able to sit down at a table and help their children with homework. Parents may be working 2-3 jobs, so they're not available to help with homework. So for parents to understand the technology and to understand what their kids are using or doing with that technology at the school and then hopefully in the home is key. And that's the big part of my job as well. So as Seth was mentioning, Tech Exchange is a big resource in Oakland. Domingo Vasquez, he's a member of Tech Exchange. He typically comes out once or twice when I'm at a particular school site to give a workshop to parents and then offer them the free computers that Digital Exchange gives out. So then after his workshop, he signs them up and then they go for a Saturday distribution wherever their warehouse is. And the picture on the left is a picture of his family. I worked with the mom, and then the whole family went out to get the computer. It became a family event. So pretty exciting. And as you can see, I think, Seth, is that where they're loading someone's car?
Yeah.
Yeah. So families will go to the distribution day, and staff will help and load the cars. So the one thing I also, if I remember correctly, is there a 1-year warranty on the hardware? Right, and software is already installed, right? So also through Tech Exchange and some other resources, I've heard about the Comcast and AT&T offering $10 a month internet. My families have had varied experience with those services. They have sometimes complained it's a little slow, possibly because many devices are connected to that one internet connection. And then the 1 million project where Sprint is giving out phones to high school students, another great idea. But as was mentioned before, I mean, kids need more than just a cell phone to do the work that's required at school. So this is where this is what I wanted to talk about the most, is the instruction. If we are going to, at some point, be able to offer more classes to parents, because I'm focusing on the parents, the instruction needs to be quality. It has to be engaging and differentiated, needs-based, data-driven, research and evidence-based. There's an organization, ITSE. They have an excellent set of standards for educators and students. I highly recommend it. And where are the classes? At adult schools, such as mine, community colleges, libraries, organizations like David E. Glover, nonprofits, probably other places that I don't know about. But I would also like to see just a general depot where people would be able to access either a website or a phone number or an app to find out where classes are for adults. And I think we do need more classes for parents. Right now in Oakland, there just aren't enough. So, all right. So vision for the future will be your turn to be thinking about that. And thank you very much.